order. The issue at hand is simply the gazebo and dealing with how it functions. We're not taking up any other business or adding anything else to it. I think what we'll do is go through person by person. Stand up, please, and give your name when you want to speak. And we need to get through anybody that wants to speak first before another comment comes up, or you'll be allowed to enter something else. I'm hoping that we make this a discussion and not a war, but the end of that result will be the end of the meeting. Okay, so I'm going to start by just giving you a little history of what has happened. On, I would say it was last Thursday, I got a call from, where is it, John and Jim, that they discovered something at the gazebo. I went down there and they showed me what the problem was, and the most important thing to take out of it is that when John put his hand on one of the rails and just pushed on it, the whole thing is doing this. It has no underpinnings. Everything that's above the deck is sitting on the deck. I don't know why they built it. Well, I do know why they built it that way. But it has no posts that go to the ground. It's not sunk in concrete. It's not fixable in its current iteration. Okay. We had an emergency meeting, and the emergency meeting, we spoke to some people that were there and didn't feel that we had put out enough information to the general public before taking action. According to state statute, an emergency meeting, you don't have to. But we did. We put the information out, and we got a few people that were interested in it. And that's where this meeting came out of. So, I think that's all the real history that you need. Who wants to speak?
I'd start with Ken Hoffman.
I'm sorry, you asked me, I can't hear you too well.
Oh, okay.
But all right, I guess I get the gist of it. You want the public to ask questions now?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, yeah, I got questions.
Say your name first.
Kenneth Hoffman, Townshend, Vermont.
Go ahead, Mr. Hoffman.
I've been here many years, over 50 years. I remember when Gazebo went up. It was quite an affair for everybody. Everybody enjoyed it. They participated as much as they could. To my knowledge, at the end of the fair, at the end of the production, it was offered to the town or they would take it down. My understanding, the town accepted it. They wanted it. Apparently, the majority of people wanted it. There were some people who did not want it. They wanted it torn down. So we kept it, and we used it. We used it for many, many functions. We had it for weddings, serious ceremonies, 9/11 ceremonies. We had bands up there. People enjoyed it. Every year we enjoyed it in some degree. Every year we had it for the hospital fair. We had the bands up there. That's the main attraction, is that gazebo. We all look forward to it. And I worked on that gazebo a lot. I really did. Right from the very beginning, I worked on it. In fact, I happened to go through my bills where I worked many hours. 06, I spent over 80 hours working on that. I did major repairs on that. After that, the business association, they took over the responsibility of the gazebo. Maybe some people know about that. I don't know. You remember that? Okay. I worked with the business association, even though I was not a businessman at the time. And I spent many, many hours on it. I got paid for part of it, and most of it I donated right back again. But over the years, I kept working at it, working on it. In fact, if anybody can remember, that gazebo looks a little different than it was originally put up. When it was originally put up, you had icicles on the eaves. I don't know if everybody remembers that. And the kids used to always knock those icicles down. They were just pieces of wood that were staggered, and they would hit it with balls and knock them down. And that went on, and people got really upset. They said they should take the gazebo down. That's when I took it upon myself, where you see those icicles are no longer there. I connected all those icicles with curved wood. It was a big job. But now the kids can't knock them down anymore. But again, over the years, I maintained it. We reached a point where the Townshend Business Association disbanded. They had nothing to do with it any longer. And I no longer wanted to work on it. I think the last time I did major repairs on that was 2006, I think it was. But even after that, I did some painting as well. But the idea of taking down an iconic structure like that, with so many people use it over the years, I find it very, very disturbing, as you can tell. I've gone through this a couple of times already. Just recently, 3 months ago, I put in that garden over there at the hospital. I built that gazebo in my backyard. I transported that on a flatbed to the hospital. I built the whole garden. I put everything in there. And then just 2 months ago, I get word that they destroyed the gazebo. I couldn't, what do you mean destroyed? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Now here we go again. We got another gazebo, something I worked on all those years, and they want to destroy that. I'm really upset. And to me, you say you can't fix it. Who says you can't fix it? Who says that? Was that an architectural engineer that said that?
No.
Okay, so you assume that because you see some rotten pieces, it can't be fixed?
It is clear that it is beyond fixing at this point. It is clear that it needs some kind of, it needs to be leveled and another one put in its place that everybody in town has the ability to be part of.
Not to build it.
No,
You don't
we
get,
would
you don't
hire-
get help like that.
No. We would hire the people to do it. But you, probably one of the few people that were around when it came in,
Yes.
you didn't have any say in it, correct?
When it came in?
Yeah. You didn't talk to the architect, you didn't talk to the builders.
You mean as far as putting it there?
Yeah, you had no say in it, correct?
No, I was still working.
Yeah, okay. Well, my point is if we can get that thing that we can't fix out of there, you can put together a group to have say in what you do with a new one. I mean, the material that's in that thing is not water resistant.
Is that on what?
It's not water resistant. It's not bug resistant. Most of those
It was water resistant. When you primed it, scraped it, and painted it well, it was water resistant.
It's
But the
not.
trouble is, over the years, you neglected it terribly. You have not paid attention to that gazebo. It would not be in that shape if you paid attention to it.
Well,
That's my point.
hold on 1 second. I've been in this post for 3 years.
Right.
So whoever you're talking to or talking about isn't me, okay?
Okay, I'm talking to you then.
All I can tell you is it is infested with ants. They have literally shredded that upper thing that goes to the roof. On most every one of those 8 pieces of wood. So all of that would have to come down to repair it. All of the decking would have to be stripped off to repair it. The weight of that roof is resting on a rotten foundation. So the only thing you can do, and I think everybody appreciates the work you put in, but the only thing we can do is remove it and put something up that will last. Something that's designed for this element. It is ant and insect resistant. It is capable of shedding water off of it. I mean, the whole thing leans. It
I
leans.
know, I've been watching that leaning.
It leans, and the water has gathered underneath of it. So there's nothing under it for footings that will hold it up. It has no concrete pad that you would normally put in underneath those things. It's just going over. And the more that we put people on that at this point, the sooner that's gonna happen.
Well, I heard about this for the first time. I think that's one of my biggest gripes is the fact you did not, as far as I know, you did not inform the public what was going on. I only found out about that meeting today.
Okay.
I don't know how many people you contacted or how you contacted them, but for somebody to make a decision today to take it down or not to take it down, I really believe that the whole community should have something to say about that. And I think you should agree with me on that.
No, I don't.
You
but-
don't agree with me.
No, it's too much of an emergency situation to be able to wait.
Again, it wouldn't be, you talked about the rot. When the last time I worked, there was no rot on it. And the reason there was no rot on it, because I protected it from the rot. But since then, you did not protect it from the rot. That's why it's rotting. Okay, I agree, it might be in worse shape than I realized, but I wonder, I like the size of that gazebo. It seems like it's the right size for this small community we have here. I thought about when I heard that they're gonna take it down, I said, good, let's put up a nice big one. But we don't want a nice big one because we add a character for the size of the community.
And there's no reason why you can't put up another one. The point is if you clear out the problems in one shot, and then you get the ground prepared to build something that's gonna last, it could be here 100 years from now, or more. This one here is 35 years old. It was a studio prop that was supposed to fall down. They don't build those things out of the best wood you can build them out of. They don't worry about the engineering. It's just gonna go over. Now, they gave it to the town if the town wanted it. And that's kind of where it's been. It's been locked in a 35-year-old time capsule that it's not weathered the storm very well.
Well, my house is about 35 years old. As far as I'm concerned, it's perfect shape. By maintaining it, that's why it's in perfect shape. And I think that's my main argument here. No, my main argument, I think, is the fact we were not informed. I think that's my main argument.
I started out this conversation with telling the whole body that state law doesn't stop us from moving forward on something that is an emergency. We don't have to notify you. And the only reason you're here right now is because we called a different meeting. We were able to put up that chain link fence, and we called a different meeting to hear this.
Well, common courtesy you should consider that, common courtesy to let the people know.
Rob, you have anything?
Your house is 35 years old and it was built with good material. That's the age it is, and it was built with inferior material. And as somebody that's younger, in a situation where it's like I should be here for quite a while, I would rather not put good money on bad things. And I think that putting a lot of money into that structure to make it so that it's sound and integrity strong, we're gonna be putting more money into it than it's probably worth, and would be better off to start new and put in some good material into it and build it so that it's here, like you're saying, for the 100 years or whatever it would take. And whatever route that comes, I think in the long run, our town will be a lot better from.
Well, as you know,
It's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do know. I understand what you're saying, as far as it happened pretty quick and so on and so forth. But when the town receives that we're liable for things and we don't act on it, as far as like more than just the average person walking up and down the street and says there's a problem over there, then we have to act on it, or else then we're in a totally different style of liability.
6 years ago, as you know, I was hit by a car. And Ralph Sherman, very comparable.
I brought, not to cut you off, but I brought this up before in our other meetings about Ralph looking into it,
Yeah.
fixing it, and then telling us that it would need help in the, should get help in the future. So, I mean, these things have been brought up before, and, about Ralph. And
Was he of the assessment that it needed to be taken down at the time? That was just 6 years
No,
ago.
no, it wasn't taken down at the time. It was in need of structural, work done to it, integrity
Yeah.
of it. And it's like, at the time, I don't think the board figured that it was, where are we going with it?
Can I have a timeline as to, you say you want to take it down? About when we get a new one, how much it was going to cost?
Well, my theory is, and I haven't been able to discuss it with all of the board members, is that we appoint a commission that has a chair that will explore things like design, will explore things like materials, and an architectural drawing of what they want to do. I mean, you can keep it from being hit again by moving it a little bit, or putting in stone that would stop a car when it got hit. We don't have any of that stuff now. You can alleviate the damage by keeping the bugs in the water pot. You can level the thing so it doesn't look like it's going to go over. It would be up to that committee to come up with that answer, get those drawings, and get contractors that are interested in building it. Go ahead, ma'am.
Liza Martin, where will the funds come from for the architectural drawings?
Right now, it would have to be either the whole thing would have to go through town meeting. However, there are some funds in the budget right now that are in a reserve type of account that would handle that. So if the momentum got going, you don't have to stop. It's simple. Go ahead.
Allie Evans, Townsend. I think a commission is a fine idea. I personally would like to see the structure not come down, start the commission, leave the fence up, make it safe, find out who owns the land, who actually owns the gazebo, do a title search on these things so we as taxpayers are sure of these things. And in that commission, with the structure still standing and the people of Townsend safe because of the fence, figure out where to go from there. Get an architect in there, and they're probably going to tell us what you're telling us, that it's structurally unsound and needs to come down. But I think as taxpayers, I especially would feel better if I had all the facts first. Who owns the Townsend Common? I remember reading a deed that the church owns it until it's not a meeting place, and then it reverts back to the Wheeler family. So there's a lot of big question marks involved that I think for all of us to make a good decision. And when I was a selectman, I represented the people. I might have had a feeling that was counter to what the people thought, but I had to vote for what the people I represented wanted. And that's what I'd like to see happen now. So thanks.
One thing that I would add in to what you're saying, Ally, is we're renting the fence in the liability part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we rent the fence and the more we leave it there as a liability, there could be, obviously we're incurring a bill with the fence rental. Then there's a liability factor, and we also have events coming on that it's like, are we gonna have it in that situation to answer however many more questions are gonna arise from
It's not a wonderful
cycling
situation, but we can buy a fence. We don't have to keep renting it. We'll use it for something else. Those are little compared to the big picture, really.
I would semi-disagree with it a little compared to the other part of it, but we'll tell, you know,
I mean, I
when we
think the
get the,
commission
when we
and
get,
putting
when we
it
get
in
the bill for
people's
the
hands,
things.
working
then
with you is a wonderful idea. Just, it's 35 years of our history, you know, so I think it needs respect. So, that's my opinion.
Go ahead.
I want to request that the select board call a special town meeting, because that's the first step. Then we know what we're doing with the fence, we know if we're having an architect, we know if we're bulldozing it, we know where the funds are coming from. To do it in another fashion is putting the cart before the horse. I think the entire populace needs to weigh in on it, and they can speak their piece, and maybe there's more of them that don't want it than we that do want it. But I think we need to hear from everybody, and I think that's the first step.
Good idea.
Okay, next? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Rick Matchkey, Townsend. I'm a 40-year builder, retired, and I would suggest, in the circumstances, there's a lot of emotion involved in that structure, but there's also a great deal of liability. I was just walking around it, looking it over, and to me, I can see that the point loads holding that roof up don't go to the ground. Subsequently, what I think you really should do, first step, is have a structural engineer come and do a quick review of the building to determine whether or not it's worth sinking a penny into and making it sound. And if so, perhaps a ballpark of what needs to be done. Not a complete top to bottom, inspect the wood material, you know, the infestation, all of that. Just look at the point loads, the way it's built, the condition it's in now. What do you suggest? Structural engineering. From there, if he says, oh yeah, we can fix it, you can do this and that, shouldn't be too bad, then you can start talking about an architect and what the town thinks it should do. But the town doesn't really know what condition it's in. None of us in this room really knows what condition it's in until you really get an expert in there, a structural engineer. That's who's going to be signing off on whatever we design anyhow, because the insurance company is going to require a structural engineer to certify that building. It's a public building. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I agree.
Somebody else that had their hand up.
Just Kathy Grieve, just a quick question, is I know the foundation of it is bad under it, but it also the superstructure has difficulties, or is the
Yes.
top part, I just wanted to clarify, the top part has problems as well, right?
The problem with it, Kathy, is all of those posts, those 8 posts that go around it, are sitting on the deck. There's nothing below them holding it up,
Okay, yeah.
okay? Next. Go ahead, Laura.
Laura Richardson. I agree with this fellow whose name I don't remember because awful their names. But I was under the impression when we had the last meeting and agreed to put up the fence that there was also going to be someone that would look at it, and or we were going to try to find someone to look at it and give us a professional, opinion about what the actual structural damage is and what to do, and I don't think that has been done. I saw the video. I think I think the damage is being somewhat exaggerated. The person there wasn't somebody grabbing the railing and shaking the gazebo. Someone was pushing on the actual upright post, which had the framework that was around the bottom that is helping to support it, taken off. And yes, it's rotted. The whole exterior is suffering from rot. But it took an adult man pushing as hard as he could to make it shimmy a little bit. I don't think it's anyone's in imminent danger of that coming down within a month or two. But I'm not a professional, but I do know wood structures. And I think that, we need someone that really knows what they're talking about to look at it. And I just met Rob Sherman out there, and he told me that, he did think it needed repair, but he said the underpinnings are pressure treated, and they're not sunken into the ground, but they are there. There are underpinnings in that, underneath that building. And he thought it could be fixed, and he is a professional carpenter. This is word of mouth. I mean, he didn't come in. I tried to drag him in here, but he wouldn't come in because he had something else he was supposed to be doing. You know, we've not heard from any professional carpenters.
What would classify a professional carpenter? Could you please
Someone that is in the building.
could you give me an actual, what that actually is?
Someone in the building industry that builds, not, no offense, a
Do they have to
businessman,
build 40
not
hours
a
a week for
maintenance
52 weeks a
person.
year or to be a professional?
Well, I don't know, what do they consider a professional builder?
Civil engineer.
A civil engineer, whatever, okay, so a
Civil engineer is gonna be actually responsible for the safety of that building, the plans, whatever it is you're building,
Yeah,
which the insurance company would likely require.
yeah.
So
So
you find out first whether you go from there, what do you have, what do you really have?
exactly,
And the carpenter has ulterior motives,
Okay.
a civil engineer does not.
gotcha,
His name, his reputation, his business is on the line on whatever he says about that building.
okay, what he said. So, but we have not heard from any professionals about this at all. We've just seen some pictures and we've heard you guys talking about it. And no offense, but I just question a lot of the time, you know, some motives occasionally about what exactly is being done. So, you know, let's get a civil engineer. And we have no idea how much it would cost to fix it, or how much it would cost to rebuild it, or how much it would cost to demolish it. We have nothing. We have no facts in front of us at all.
Demolishing is gonna cost nothing.
Hourly wage and then tipping fee.
The highway department, so I guess it's gonna be demolishing it. And I don't know where all this wreckage is going. That's what I've heard.
Are we here for a reason today, or is it already decided?
We were told at the emergency meeting that there were more people that were gonna come and state their piece.
But have you already made up your mind?
I
That's it. You have?
Yep.
And so then the board votes on it and maybe tomorrow the building's coming down? Is that what we're talking about?
Potentially.
Well, everybody else here has made up their mind, or just you?
I've made up my mind.
All right.
I'm not speaking for the other people that are here.
So I'd like to hear from everybody else.
Not now. You're gonna have to wait until the vote. All right, who's next?
Don't you agree what this gentleman behind me was saying is exactly the way we should go about this?
What I have for information
Exactly.
is.
He
it's
covered
not
all
covered-
aspects of what we should be doing.
It's not covered by insurance. If that thing comes down and it collapses and somebody gets from playing around that fence, we're gonna eat the bullet for it. For the whole thing, for neglect. Neglect of that, from the point we knew that there was a problem, that's when it became a threat to us.
You can't be propped up.
So, hold on a second here. How about this? How about we go through and ask everybody that's in the room, one by one, just a quick answer of what optimum decision of what you would like to do, starting with Liz, please.
I think it needs to be rebuilt or replaced. I think there needs to be a commitment from the select board. Not just, well, you can rebuild it and you can form a committee and you can get an architectural drawing and you can get a civil engineer, because there are a lot of those kind of scenarios that never come to fruition.
Yeah.
Everybody likes the gazebo, as far as I know, and it's either got to get fixed or got to get replaced, and it's all got to be carved in stone that yes, the town's going to support it and finance it.
Ms. Speary, what do you think?
I think we should hire a structural/civil engineer to do an official look at the gazebo and report back to us so we can then make some decisions.
Ally Evans, as I stated, I think we should leave the gazebo up, find out who owns the land, find out who actually owns the gazebo, find out what it would cost to fix it if possible, get all of our facts before we make knee-jerk reactions. So,
Maggie Bills, and I think the idea of a civil engineer, someone to assess the actual, where we are, the actual structure, before making any decisions seems like a good idea to me.
Bruce Bills, I would go along with what she says.
Smart man.
I got this.
Ken?
Well, I just wholeheartedly goes along with the idea of getting a civil engineer and to assess what we need and how to go about it, but in the meantime, to prop it up so it won't be a hazard to any children that's playing around.
Nobody's going in it.
Well, we wouldn't be able to take the fencing down.
I beg your pardon?
I said we wouldn't be able to take the fencing down, so as far as propping it up.
Well, we can leave it up until we get a
Yeah.
word from the civil engineer.
Rick? Jeff?
I personally think we got enough in-house people here with enough experience to come to a conclusion on. And I believe we should take it down and rebuild something that would be there for 100 years. I mean, why not do it for the town, you know? Build our own. I mean, you could even make it look like that if you wanted to.
I think that it should.
You
Hold
know?
on, let's go one at a time. Jim?
I would agree that it's in very, I was involved with, you know, the latest restoration work and saw the numerous things that were wrong with it, with the rot, the ants, the moisture, all aspects of what supports it up, the decking sagging underneath the columns. Just a host of things that are all coming due at the same time in deterioration. Restoring it would be quite a complex, long process. The roof is okay, but what do you do about that while you're fixing everything underneath? I would like to see a really nice, maybe even slightly larger gazebo there that with all the right, maybe you have vinyl posts and you could have the AZAC decking that would be rock proof. You could do a lot of things in a new gazebo that would last for 100 years, and I think that what's there right now is in really tough shape.
Laura?
I agree that we should get more facts before we tear it down and keep the fence up and find a way to afford to finance the fence somehow and get a civil engineer in there and give us our facts. What's going to cost to fix it, what's going to cost to build another one, so we can have something to go by.
Mary?
I agree. I think that the civil engineers start there, and if he recommends that it come down, then I would like to see it built as it is now. But, you know, the design of it. But, yeah, I think that start with the civil engineer, and if the town's willing to erect a new one, then that's probably what we should do.
Helen?
I'd go with the engineer and get the cost.
I want to also speak for Jean McIntyre, who's not here today, and she asked me to say that she would like to know the cost to repair it and make it safe, and then have the town decide if they want to fund it before it's torn down, but have the town make a decision. I agree with Jean. I think that we need more facts in order to make an educated decision. Because honestly, we don't know with cost of building materials and stuff how much it is. It might not even be possible to repair, but it might actually be a more cost-effective way. And I think having someone that is educated enough to make that decision and then present that options to the town and actually have the town vote on it, because I believe it should be a town-wide decision, not a select board decision.
I agree.
Paula?
I agree with that. Yeah, I think civil engineer, I think that building materials are skyrocketing right now. And if you could find out if it was salvageable and cheaper, that's inexpensive.
Michaela?
Emily?
I agree that civil engineering would have to go so people can feel like they trust what's going on and they have support from the people who are making the decision?
John?
I would think it's a good time for this community to consider putting up a properly built structure, gazebo. I would think it's a great opportunity now to make the common look better. And I don't see why we can't afford that as a community.
Charlie?
From what I've been told, there's certainly issues on the bottom part of the gazebo. And that's come from a number of people. And that's not new. That's an issue that's gone on over the years. And so in the work that I do, you can't fix the top without fixing the bottom. So you've got to start from the bottom and go up with whatever you're going to put there in its place. And I think there should be something there. It's used a lot. And we know right from the start it was a movie prop, and we sort of knew what we were getting into. And so it's probably time after all this time to start from the bottom and go up. I'm not worried about the building collapsing. It looks like it was pretty obvious to me when I saw the fence and signs that I should stay away from there, and if somebody's stupid enough to climb over the sign, then they get what they ask for. I don't think we have to worry about that as long as the select board formally announces that the property is, I don't know if the word condemned is the right word, but under review, and you should stay away. That you posted it, and then get the engineer to look at it and decide what really needs to happen. Then you have a report, and you can go forward with that information.
Kathy?
I'm in favor of getting the engineer. I also don't think we should waste any time. We should get somebody pretty fast, and if the conclusion of the engineer is that it needs to come down, it needs to come down. But given the liability issues, I don't think we can waste any time on that decision, and then we can go ahead and if it has to come down, we can then go ahead and plan what we're going to do. But I think time is of the essence.
I'll pass.
So my next question would be,
I want to hear from the people on Zoom.
Yeah.
fire away. I don't know who's on, I can't see who's on it, so I have a hard time.
Do you want to, if anybody on Zoom would like to also give their opinion, you can raise your hand or put something in the chat that lets me know you want to say something. Just give me a minute, I don't see anybody.
One of my quick questions to you guys would be, should we take and figure out what it's gonna cost to have a civil engineer come and give us an assessment of the gazebo and get a price on it first, or should we pull the trigger on it, or should we not get a civil engineer and do like Jeff and a few of the others said and go from there?
Are there funds? I mean, wasn't there a gazebo fund that's been set aside? So aren't there funds that
There is.
There's $300 a year. It was supposed to be set aside for the past almost 10 years now. $300 a year. It was, I beg your pardon?
It was not done. Whatever the situation was over the last however many years, it was not done.
Okay.
So there
Well,
is
somebody
no money.
did their job then, apparently.
Go ahead. Russ.
Yes,
Jeff.
I do not ever remember that being on the select board that there was anything allotted, because it was the business association was doing it and it flip-flopped around.
There was a common fund,
Doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
and the common fund was from the Warner Brother tree money.
Yeah.
It does not exist.
The $300 came into effect after the business association gave up the responsibility.
Well,
It's not there.
I never remember it.
There is no common fund
There
any
is no
longer.
common fund. Laura?
According to the town report, which just came out a couple of months ago, there was a fund called the Common Use Fund for $5,300. There's also a fund for the Mosley Fund, which was for $23,000. I have a printout of what the Mosleys, who gifted the money to the town, said and when they gifted it. And I also have information on my computer that says at one point in time, the town did vote in the common fund. In fact, we had $200 a year going into the common fund until this year when it was decided it wasn't going to be done. Also, I mean, all these funds are available to the select board at their discretion, but they can't just tap into the fund without having an open discussion during a meeting where the public can hear it about what they're doing with that money. So I'd like to know where that common use fund is and where's the Mosley Fund, because it's in this 2023.
Well, let's start with the first one. The first one, the common fund, was liquidated by the treasurer and put in the general fund budget. That does not exist anymore. It's there for offsetting taxes. The Mosley Fund, wait a minute, let me finish. Mosley Fund is there, but we have to decide based on the available information whether we can tap into that. It's not just like this. It's not part of anything. Well, it started out being like that, and the town voted 20 years ago to put it in a reserve fund. Well, reserve funds have rules. So that, I wouldn't guarantee that you have any say in. And the last one was $200 won't replace one of those styles. Will not. So it was irrelevant to the budget, and it was taken out because there was nothing else there. That budget had not been funded for I don't know how long, at least the last 3 years, maybe further than that. Go ahead.
Isn't there $500,000 in ARPA funds for the municipality, and could we tap into it for the Gazebo?
No, it's already spent. And it's not $500,000. It's
I understood it wasn't spent yet.
It has been
Fire truck
Yeah, I heard the conversations.
And there's also something else that was involved with the computer system in here, wasn't it?
With cybersecurity and the town clerk's electronic records.
When you said the common fund was liquidated by the treasurer to offset taxes, who instructed the treasurer to do that?
Yeah.
She can do it on her own.
No, I do not believe that.
She can't do that.
Yes, she can. She's solely in charge of the finances of the town. It's not a vote that we can ask her to do that, but she was able to do it on her own.
I disagree.
I think we should ask Elaine that, because I do not believe that's true.
It's fine.
Good.
Next. Go.
I personally like to go along with what Jim Crozier had to say about replacement, a new structure. When I heard about they were going to tear it down, I said, good, that's good. But then I realized that structure we have there has been there for 35 years. And, you know, this town went through a lot over those years by using that structure, and we got an awful lot of satisfaction out of it. All the things I related about earlier. And for that reason, I just want to still keep it there. As much as, again, I like to see a new one there. But it's part of the town, and it's to me, it's very difficult to break away from something that we fell in love with for all these years. And just to tear it down and put something new. It's like, that's the way we are these days. You know, it gets bad, we throw it away, we buy something new. It's time to restore what we have and make good use of it for a while longer.
In all likelihood, we'll never see any use of it again. Go ahead.
Jim, I believe you said you thought that it wasn't worth saving, right? Or as far as the structural wise wasn't worth saving, not aesthetic or value to the
I haven't done any sort of cost assessment about what it would be involved in. to save it in order to somewhat support the roof, maybe even take a crane and lift the roof off and put it on the ground and then rebuild the bottom, if you wanted to go that route. There's several ways of going about it, but there really isn't anything from the railings down that's worth keeping. You know, the foundation was put, I mean, the yeoman's work has been done over the past 30 years. Tremendous amounts of effort and time has been put into that, but time has caught up with it. You know, it's been 35 years, it's just wood, and wood rots, and wood just doesn't take water and ants, and it's been a lovely structure, but its time has come and gone. It was never meant to be there. It was never built correctly in the first place, and even though tremendous efforts have been put in to maintain it and keep it, it's just wind and weather and time has caught up with it, and that's the way I've been looking at it.
Are you a structural engineer?
Not exactly. But
But these
I'm
houses are still standing.
for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm a retired contractor. I've been building for 50 years. Maintenance engineer, operations engineer. I know rot when I see it. I've repaired a tremendous amount of rot in dozens and dozens of homes and remodeling and historic restoration. I've been involved with that from all my life. And the rot there's really nowhere to start. Is from the decking down, it's the plywood's rotted, the decking's rotted, the framing's rotted, the bottom of the posts are rotted, the railings are rotted, the balusters are rotted, the stairs are rotted, the stair posts are rotted, you know, everything, the molding's rotted, the nosing's rotted, there's ants flying out of it, there's mold growing on it, there's fungus growing in it. It's not really anything you can really rationally do to repair it.
It would be taking it all the way down and rebuilding it anyway.
I have a question for you, sir.
Go ahead.
Certainly.
Jeff,
And
finish.
I understand about the structural engineer, but we got enough expertise, or whatever you want to call it, in-house. I mean, how much was it? 2,500 something for somebody to fly into town and look at it? And we got Townshend residents that have built and done this work, and they just don't have the thing to hang on the wall to say that they can say it's structural.
I would even bet, Jeff, that there's some architects that could help, that live here, that could
I'm
help.
sure there is, and if we reached out, we could do it in-house, and it is obvious that if you wanted to rebuild it, it would be basically a brand new structure. You may be able to save the roof, but it wasn't, it's not, John was the guy that racked it, and it doesn't take much effort at all.
If you just
Anybody in here, no, we're not gonna do that, but anybody in here could get that thing rocking.
It didn't take much.
Very little.
It almost occurred incidentally. We were talking, leaning on the post, and you could feel it, and you could see that it was on the level, and it's just a very light touch. Even a child could get that rolling.
Miss Martin.
It's ready to come down. It's a good strong wind. And it didn't take much to get that tipping and swaying. You could see the post at the top. Yes.
I have a question for you. In your professional opinion, do you think it's possible to pour a pad or set footers off to the side of that gazebo and build the bottom structure and get the crane and move the top over?
Wonderful.
That would be an option. Say the roof is in pretty good shape. It's been reshingled. The cost of a crane is not cheap, a large crane to pick that up. And you're also talking about time on the common and construction and equipment and all that. You have the Great Scottish Fair in 4 weeks. And that,
Yeah, there's no way it could happen.
So that's part of the
You gotta
consideration.
store the roof, you need the crane twice.
And that's just a thought, whether somebody could really actually do that. But you're talking about maybe putting down stone foundations or concrete or maybe a month or more is worth of work with it.
That's
Good
why we
crew of
need a
carpenters.
structural engineer and an architect.
So,
And a study.
but whether it can be salvaged, the only thing salvageable is the roof.
It's gonna cost money either way. Even when you say it's free to take it down, it's not.
There's a hand up, so we can, Terry Berger.
But in what minute? Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. So my question is, I hear Jeff's points about there being plenty of professionals in the town that he feels like can make a solid assessment. In which case then, could those same people be able to pull together a reasonable quote on what the cost would be to actually replace the structure? I mean, if if we have enough professionals that it doesn't require a civil engineer, then could those same people feel like they could pull together to make a reasonable quote on what it would cost to actually replace it? So that could be put before the community members to vote on whether they want to spend that money?
I think that's why one of the suggestions is to put together a committee and have them try to line up people that would be able to give an accurate assessment of what it would take to rebuild it or to replace it.
The building has to stay standing.
What's that?
The building has to stay standing for that to happen. It can't be knocked down in the meantime.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
trying to get across the mud puddle we're on right now.
good. I
And figure out what to do, more than tear it down tonight.
Good.
So, I would make a motion to appoint Laura Richardson chair of a committee and have her put together a committee. She's been pretty headstrong about this, and have them come together and come up with some prices of what it would take to rehab it and then or rebuild it.
I unfortunately, I do not have the connections in this town to do that.
Takes a
I know-
telephone.
I know very few people, I don't know who does what. It takes more than a telephone. You actually have to know who in town is capable of doing what. I mean, if people would be willing to step up tonight and say, hey, I want to be on your committee and let's do it, that's fine. Otherwise, it seems that it would be more effective to have someone that has the connections in town and knows what people to contact. I'd be glad to help.
I'm pretty disappointed though.
I know.
Spent like 6 months on it.
I
and it's
know,
like,
I
now
know.
you're backing out.
I'm not backing out of doing it, I'm just backing out, I want to be effective if I do it.
Jeff?
All right. John, will you go on a committee with me to try to do something with this?
Yes.
Jim?
The only problem I have is you guys are all the take it down guys.
No.
I'm just making my.
I want to be on your committee.
No, wait.
Or you want to be on their committee?
Oh, come on. Jeff, go ahead.
No, why did I even get involved?
Jeff, do you think that you can make a fair assessment of it? Yes or no?
Yes, I can make a fair assessment.
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, anybody want to join those three?
I have a clarification, a fair assessment of the building itself or the cost of rebuilding?
All of it.
All of it. I mean,
One
You
way or the
can't
other.
have one without the other.
I mean,
We'll look at it both ways.
they both have estimated jobs, but I would get somebody else out of the committee to come in and do the estimated.
No, I know.
So it wouldn't look like an old boys group. It'd be, yes, I'm not, I don't want to put this favor tearing down, but it's going to have, if it's rebuilt correctly, it's going to have to be torn down. That's the problem. You can't, you don't have anti-gravity yet, you can't hold the roof up there and do the
Well, you just said that.
Well, and I stepped down already then.
Some of us get involved.
I'll be on the committee.
Hey, I'm stepping down already. Here we are, we're at the usual kind of confluence of things. So,
This building for
here's the situation.
years ago.
Here's the situation. This is not going to get kicked down the road, okay? That fence is up there. Nobody's going to be able to get near it. Nobody's going to be able to mow the lawn. Nobody's going to go on it, strengthen it. It's going to sit the way it's sitting, because I'm not risking anybody's life for nonsense, and this to me is sounding a lot like nonsense, okay? He can't do it because he's one of the ones that says, well, it ought to come down.
I
Okay,
said I had a feeling about that.
okay.
And you are not the king of the town. You work for us. That's
You
right.
need to stop.
No, I don't.
You can leave then.
No, I
You
don't.
can leave.
No. I
Yeah?
am
All
entitled
right,
to
well,
an
let's
opinion.
see. It's 7 o'clock. I think an adjournment's in order.
Can you please appoint the committee?
Nope. We'll appoint the committee when we
Okay, well,
get a review.
Before you
What about the
disconnect,
rest of the select board? Did they
I'd like to read something. Robert's rules, which usually are what govern these kind of meetings. A debate can ensure in which participants can engage respectfully in a dialogue. Also, another facet of Robert's Rules of Order is the keeping of order and civility. I think we just lost our order and civility in the last 3 minutes. I think before everybody adjourns and goes home, is angry at everybody else, the people who said that they would be on the committee need to be appointed to that committee, please.
They are already advocated that. And just so you're aware, Robert's Rules is not something that we have to adopt. We've never adopted it. We use a modification, Robert. Go right ahead. The statutes are there.
Do you have the modification written out so that people can know? That's what the Vermont League of Cities and Towns recommends, that even if you don't use Robert's Rules, you have it clearly written out so people can.
We do not, and that's what we've used
They've
for
always
3 years.
used Robert's rules.
Okay, a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
You're not getting it away.
Let's calm down for 2 seconds here. Do we want to put together a committee to work on this thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Out here, was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. Can we take, in any, like, whether it's a denomination of 3, 5, 7, whatever, 9, 11, 13, whatever it is, could somebody that would be interested in volunteering their time to go onto this committee, please raise their hand?
So we have Laura.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sean Moore has
Come on,
said
Jeff.
that he will be on the committee.
Come on, Jeff.
John's got his hand raised.
Okay, so we're
I stopped being on the select board and left this building, how many years ago, just to get away from
Remember
this?
how well
After
we
this?
worked
Can we
together?
get this deciphered so we go, how many hands are
Thank
out
you.
here?
Thank you, Jeff.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had yours up. Sean Merrill. John over here. Could we get another person to go so that we have an odd
Odd
number,
number?
please?
Do you want to be on it?
Yes, I'll be on.
Thank you.
That would be 9. So if you could please come,
Can I
put into
just
the
read off
notes, we
one?
have Jeff, or Jeff, you're off of it?
No, I'll be on it.
Bob, can I read who I had and you tell me if I'm missing anyone? I have Laura, Ally, Liza, Rob Swiger, Sean Morrow, Jeff, Katie Morrow, and Rob Wright.
You forgot John Evans.
John Evans,
Sorry,
and I
John.
think Jim Crocer
Yeah,
wanted to be on too.
Jim?
Yeah.
And there should be 9, including Rob.
Now, do we need to appoint a chair for this?
Should maybe you guys could meet and appoint a chair of that
That's a
time?
great idea.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Robert.
Maybe we can meet right after this meeting and decide when we should meet.
That work for everyone, Laura and Hank?
Yes, because this needs to be something that we need to,
Too sweet.
like tomorrow, we need to
I would
really.
make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Well, I have one more thing. Just one more thing. Somebody stuck a sign on the post office today that said the select board's neglect the gazebo and put the safety of our school children at risk. Who did that? Oh, I'm sure that there's somebody in here that might know where it came
If
from.
you're thinking it was me, it was
Did
not.
I say you?
It was not. I'm not
All
saying
right, so here,
Phoebe.
I'm not saying I did it, but could I speak to that?
yeah, one second, just one second.
Okay, thanks.
So that type of thing does not help things move along at all. The only thing that does is gets people's feet dug in, and you're not gonna get anything done, period. So I would very much encourage you to make sure that that type of thing stops. This select board had nothing to do with that gazebo. Nothing. It was foisted on us to have to deal with. And until last Thursday, we did not have the information that was necessary to move forward. That's not our responsibility. Now, there's going to be a person in this room that said, oh, yes, we did. That's fine. That particular person has no credibility, considering the one that had the credibility is sitting right over there.
What are you talking about? We're all sitting here questioning, are you pointing fingers? Are
No,
you
I'm not pointing fingers.
making up
I'm
a
just
story?
I'm letting the whole group know that there's somebody that is playing games, simply playing games.
Well, that's a
And
way of
it's-
life. Let's just start our committee and be positive about this.
Well, good luck. Okay, go ahead, Katie. Or Kate, go ahead.
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
Thanks. I just wanted to say, as a select board member, my reasoning for making the motion to put the fence up was exactly that, protecting the safety of children, including all the kids that would wake up in the morning to have their playground gone. And properly notifying them of that, I think, is a priority. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that there
Thank
is
you.
the safety and care of children on this board.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Laura.
I'm sure most people know that I'm the one that contacted the Vermont building inspector, and I'm the one that contacted VLCT, because I did not feel that I was being heated about my concerns about the gazebo, and I wasn't being heated. And frankly, if these two guys hadn't gone there and started working on it because they were being told to because of the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, we would still not know how unsafe that was. So, and I don't play games. I'm in your face about stuff and you know it. So, this is, I take full responsibility for this fiasco in a sense, but yet I also feel that if this hadn't been pushed, God only knows what could have happened. So, that's it. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully,
Do you know of,
Katie?
we've been working with.
Katie, one to me?
Who might
She doesn't
be
have her hand up.
able to
If she wants to say something.
Katie Mara,
I only contacted people that I don't know.
She has to unmute. She just has to unmute. If she wants to say something.
Go ahead.
With somebody who
Say
is
something on
an
the.
engineer who can kind of look.
Rick,
at things and say,
hey, we're gonna be a meeting.
I'm not, do you want to?
she might be away from the computer.
I'm not sure she wants to. She's
Okay,
not
fair
jumping
enough. I wouldn't mind giving my opinion.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as a public safety professional, should be torn down. As a construction professional, should be torn down. You're right, our job is to listen to you guys and vote as the majority deems appropriate. I think it's gonna cost us money, which I think is a little frivolous, but it obviously is more emotional of an issue than, we might deem necessary. Our health and safety officer was making a crucial decision for the betterment and protection of our kids who are playing on it. So when it comes to, pointing fingers and blaming, we're doing the best for you guys. It's nice to see so many people in those industries here tonight and seeing such a, just seeing anybody show up to a meeting is great. And I hope to see more of it in a more positive light. I'm, at this point, it sounds like we need another meeting. So to add a third movement, just kind of floating out there, I'd like to move to schedule another meeting after the select board has a moment to discuss.
Would it be a special meeting or would it be a meeting tagged on to the
next meeting.
July 11th
I
meeting?
selfishly want to see what it's like to call an emergency town meeting, and I also think everybody needs to give their opinion.
It doesn't cover it. It doesn't cover it under emergency. It's either a special or it's a regular meeting.
Oh, got it, okay.
And the
Special meeting.
The only thing I would add to that is probably the group that has agreed to be a committee should meet before that happens.
Okay. And
Can we meet right after this meeting in the Lister's office, the committee, write down our names?
The other meeting's still going.
No, I think it
Can we-
stopped at 7.
We should adjourn.
Yes.
Group together the people that have been nominated, give our correspondence and names and all that type of stuff, and then select, I was gonna say,
Then we
select the
set the
chair, the
next
vice
meeting.
chair, and somebody take the minutes and then go from there.
Will you remind us what, I know you made a movement and it's already.
I made a motion to adjourn.
Got it. Okay.
But it failed for a second.
It did.
Well, I don't think we've gotten to that.
Those are sitting there. Okay, so it sounds like the next motion on the table is to schedule another meeting where everybody can talk. After the committees.
If the
Yeah,
motion is
we're
to
gonna adjourn
adjourn
this
this meeting,
meeting.
and then the committee will meet on their own, right after.
Oh, got it, because it's already been determined, we don't have to vote on that.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think the one thing we have to do, if it's a board sanctioned meeting, is we have to agree in a vote to set that up.
Got
So
it.
the first thing is appointing a commission or a committee to explore the issues surrounding the gazebo.
Okay,
That would be the first one.
Which I think Rob may have done earlier.
you started.
Tried anyways.
Okay.
Do it again?
Let's
I want to
try
second
again.
that motion, actually.
Oh, but wasn't it Laura?
Yeah.
It was Laura as the chair.
Yeah.
No, you
But she said no to the chair.
Right.
I know, and then we.
Then we
came
just
up.
So then
So you
we
need
would
to re,
So why don't we take as a committee and group together and vote for a
Rob, do you
chair?
want
Right this minute?
No, Rob,
When we meet,
Okay, but right after this.
Make them.
after
so make a
this,
motion to
Rob, do you
appoint
want
the
to alter
committee.
your motion, just instead of?
I would make a motion to have a group of, I think it was 9 committee members for the gazebo committee, and we will vote on the chair and vice chair and minutes keeper in the meeting, clerk afterwards.
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay,
Is she
She just
opposing or is
voted
it
aye.
on delay?
yeah, 5, go ahead. Now,
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Here we go.